mean, if you look at 4chan or some of the truly anonymous messaging boards, they're also some of the most horribly toxic places there. And so it's easy to hide behind a gamer tag. Or
Twitter is battling with that.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. And this was funny, not to skip ahead, but when I gave this talk in Vancouver, I was perhaps naively expecting the kind of social media companies and the gaming companies to respond and try to engage with this. But what I realized was like, obviously Twitter and Facebook, now Meta, they're being raked over the coals around content moderation. And this is a much more intense version of that. And the gaming companies, most of them are making money hand over fist, just doing what they're doing. So they're sort of hoping not to get involved in that dialogue yet. There obviously are a lot of progressive companies that are trying to explore this more. But the overall, conversation around gamer culture and the fact that, culture as a whole is becoming more and more influenced by gamer culture. And you look at how a lot of the economic activities which are likely to play out in the next decade or so are going to be more and more virtualized and more around the creation of digital goods and virtual assets and exchange of those and promotion of those. That's going to become a bigger and bigger portion of our lives, right? So there are people who are starting to look with a little bit more foresight and take a little bit more responsibility to that. But the reason I started digging so deep into this is because very few people were actually having this conversation and drawing the dots together in that way. And I was curious, and I realized there's something big here. So I wanted to try to tell that story as loudly as possible to start a conversation.
If you think about it, they are companies making hundreds of millions of dollars in revenues. They're listed companies as well. Some of them are huge. So why would they? There's an economic incentive for them to keep doing what they're doing. And we know that the more extreme things are, the more return you get, right? Like if you have an outrageous opinion, you're going to get 1 million people retweeting or tweeting or answering. So it's, I think, I don't know why all of a sudden Meta is now under attack. Maybe because some researchers like yourself, took that first step and said, hey, these social media platforms are causing depression in teen girls, etc.